Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today, it is the 29th of November. We're almost done, and then it's going to be, dun, 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 December.
已经到月底了, yeah.
Yes, but today we're doing the second half of a two-day article called The Rise of Cheerleading, or How Cheerleading Has Become a Big Sport These Days.
好，我们今天这篇文章的中文标题就是竞技啦啦队展现力与美。
So yesterday, we talked about kind of the origins of cheerleading. Like, cheerleading is associated with the United States. And the reason is because cheerleading was invented in the United States, pretty much in the elite colleges, because they were cheerleading more or less football and maybe some other sports. And then that eventually spread to high schools. And then in World War II, it went from being men only to being more or less women. And then after World War II, it never reverted to being men and is now just a women's sport, more or less. There are men in it, but the men's job is to basically throw women into the air or, be stood upon to make towers. Mm-hmm. So that's really interesting. So that was what we talked about yesterday. And then today what we're going to talk about is kind of the ups and downs of the pursuit of cheerleading as a sport.
好，那我们昨天谈的就是这个啦啦队大概一个历史，那从美国开始发源。那今天我们要谈一谈啦啦队的一些特色，或者是它跟舞蹈比较起来有什么不一样的地方。
So let's read through today's article, today's half of the article. Cheerleading has come a long way from the early days of only leading crowds in chants. Today, cheerleading combines the elegance and physicality of dancing with the rigor of being elite gymnasts. Though cheerleading and dancing share many similarities, they are both entirely unique activities. Purpose. Though both are demanding activities, cheerleading is considered a sport, while dancing is seen as a form of art. Cheerleaders are trained to encourage their sports team through routines with chants and cheers. In competitions, precise movements are required. Dancers, on the other hand, put on performances for audiences that showcase their creativity, strength, and agility, while also displaying a strong sense of emotion. Risks of injuries. Just like all physical pursuits, both cheerleading and dancing carry risks of injuries. In fact, every dancer or cheerleader will probably have minor injuries from time to time, but serious injuries differ in nature between these two activities. Dancers tend to suffer from overstretched ligaments and sprains, or even breaking knees and ankles. Cheerleaders are more at risk of severe head and spinal cord injuries due to the stunts and high-flying acrobatics they perform. Careers. Those interested in cheerleading generally start in high school or at a younger age. Though classified as a sport, cheerleading has yet to be included in the greatest honor for athletes, the Olympics. It's also not easy for cheerleaders to extend their career when they are no longer students. Given their background, a career in sports management or broadcasting can be viable. Meanwhile, dancing offers a more long-lasting career path. After dancers retire, they have the opportunity to become teachers or judges, or go into related fields such as costume design or stage management. Okay, so our article, the second half of the article begins by saying that cheerleading has come a long way from the early days of only leading crowds in chants. If you've come a long way from, it means that you've changed a lot.
好，所以这里讲到这个 has come a long way， 这个中文来讲就是有很大的进展。那英文解释的话，你可以说 to has come a long way 就是 to have made significant progress or improvement， 或者你也可以说 to have accomplished much 的意思， to have advanced much 的意思，也就是很有进展。所以这个 from the early days of 从早期的那个 leading crowds in chants 就是带领群众这个呼口号啊加油啊，早期只是带领群众呼口号或者加油，但是呢啦啦队呢已经从早期的呼口号加油而有了很大的进展，就现在已经有很多的发展，已经完全不是那么回事了。
So today cheerleading combines the elegance and physicality of dancing with the rigor of being elite gymnasts. So an elite gymnast is someone who can perform very precise, very difficult movements. But I mean, that also sounds like dancing. But like gymnasts launch themselves into the air in these kind of gravity-defying twists and turns. And dancing isn't just isn't as airborne as cheerleading, let's just say.
那今天呢，这个啦啦队的这个啦啦队的活动呢，它已经 combines 就是 join together， 它已经结合了the elegance and physicality of dancing， 它已经结合了 dancing 就是舞蹈的这个优雅 elegance， 然后呢 physicality 这个字但不太好解释，它在其实就是它是展现身体的能力这样的一个感觉。这个 physicality 它指的是一个人他的这个 quality of being physical， 或者是你的 physical characteristics， 就是你的身体的能力要能够展现出来。然后呢它 combines， 它结合了 the elegance and physicality of dancing， 跟什么结合呢？跟 the rigor of being elite gymnasts。 这个 rigor 就是 discipline 的意思，所以你要有很严格的纪律跟训练。那你这个是什么？身为一个 elite， 就是顶尖的很优秀的这个体操队员，换句话说这是很不容易的一件事情。
And so, though cheerleading and dancing share many similarities, like honestly, the words that you use to describe each activity sounds the same, they are both entirely unique activities. When you see the one, you won't confuse it for the other.
Yeah, 所以虽然呢，这个啦啦队表演跟这个舞蹈呢 share many similarities， 就是有很多相似之处。各位可以把整个背起来 ，share many similarities， 就他们分享共有很多相似之处。虽然是这样子，就是你看有的时候啦啦队表演好像就在跳舞一样，但是呢，其实他们是 entirely unique activities， 这两个他们都是完全独一无二的一种活动。
So now we have a bunch of boxes, really, that each one is like a category of thing to explain cheerleading. Or it's basically to explain the comparison between cheerleading and dancing. So the first one is labeled purpose. And purpose is what it's for.
就是目的的意思。
So though both are demanding activities, both cheerleading and dancing are demanding activities, you're bringing your physical fitness to the utmost, you're doing really hard things. Cheerleading is considered a sport. There's competitions, there's winners and losers. While dancing is seen as a form of art. You merely go and experience it.
那虽然二者就是啦啦队跟舞蹈呢都是 demanding activities. Demanding 就是它要求很高，不容易 requiring much effort or attention 或者是 great skill 的意思。所以虽然二者都是不容易的活动，但是呢 cheerleading 它 is considered a sport。 那这个啦啦队呢被认为是一种运动，所以 to be considered 后面直接加补语，不用加 as， to be considered 然后后面直接加 a sport， 它被认为是一种运动。同时呢另外一方面 dancing 舞蹈 is seen as， 但是各位发现到 is seen 后面就要加 as， 所以这两个意思很像， is considered 跟 is seen as 很像，但是 seen 后面就一定要加 as， 所以啦啦队被视为一种运动，那舞蹈被视为一种 a form of art， 是一种艺术的形式。
I mean, you can have dance competitions and you can have cheerleading performances, but in general.
Yeah, 当然你可以有舞蹈比赛，也可以有啦啦队比赛，但基本上呢，舞蹈被视为一种艺术，那这个啦啦队比较被视为一种运动。
Now, cheerleaders are trained to encourage their sports teams through routines with chants and cheers. So that's the purpose of cheerleading. They're still ultimately about making their sports team improve in some way, or, as being part of a sports activity.
好，所以呢，这个啦啦队呢 are trained to do something， 他们被训练目的是干嘛？这 to 一样表示目的。啦啦队被训练的目的是要 encourage their sports team， 要鼓舞他们的运动队伍 through 透过什么来鼓舞呢？透过 routines 在这里就是一套固定的动作或者是程序或者是行为，这里大概就一套固定的动作了。这个一套固定的动作是怎么样？特色是怎么样？是有 chants， 有那种带有韵律或者节奏的一种呼喊，还有 cheers 就是加油的声音，所以这统统结合在一起，但它是一套固定的一套动作。
And in competitions, precise movements are required. Now, here's the thing. In dancing, precise movement is also required. It's really hard to just use words to describe these activities because it's almost the same when you describe it.
这个用文字不容易描述啊，因为这里讲到说 in competitions 就是在竞赛的时候，啦啦队比赛的时候呢 precise movements， precise 就是精准 exact 或者是 accurate in performance 或者 in execution， 那执行的时候要很精准。所以在啦啦队比赛的时候呢，精准的动作是必要的。那其实舞蹈的时候也是一样，舞蹈也是，当然有的舞蹈可能是比较随性的，但是有一些舞蹈是非常，它也是要求很精准的。
And I mean, the good ones are 精准.
Yeah.
It's the bad ones who are 随性.
Yeah.
But dancers, on the other hand, put on performances for audiences. So their main thing is to perform like for an audience, like it's a show. And the show will showcase or show off their creativity, strength, and agility. But of course, cheerleaders also showcase their creativity, strength, and agility.
Yeah.
However, I would say that the motions and actions that cheerleaders use are much more limited than the range of motions and actions given to dancers. I think there's a much more fixed set of gestures for cheerleaders. And also, the dancers display a strong sense of emotion, and they get to show all of the emotions, whereas cheerleaders are only allowed to show positivity. So in a way, cheerleaders are more restricted than dancers.
Yeah, 我们先看这个句子，他说这个舞蹈者呢 on the other hand put on performances， 就是 put on 在这里就是这个 cause to be performed， 就是 produce， 他们这个所谓的 put on performances 就是演出的意思，他们表演呢是为观众表演的。那这个 performance 怎么样呢？这个 that 就指那个 performances， 他们的表演呢 showcase 就是展示 to exhibit 或者 display。Exhibit 是 E-X-H-I-B-I-T， 他们的表演是显示他们的 creativity， 他们的创造力 strength， 他们的力量，还有他们的 agility 是灵活度 nimbleness N-I-M-B-L-E-N-E-S-S， 所谓的 agility 就是 the power of moving quickly and easily， 所以他们展示他们的创造力、力量跟灵活度。While 同时他们也 also displaying， 他们也这个展示 a strong sense of emotion， 就是一个强烈的情绪或者是一种感情。那其实多多少少 cheerleading 他们也是需要力量，也是需要灵活度，也是需要这个 creativity。那大概比较中间比较有所差距，就是舞蹈比较强调各种不同的情绪或者是感情。那这个就像 Angela 老师刚刚讲，这个啦啦队的话大概只能秀出那种很正面的那种情绪，就因为它是要加油的，那这可能是跟舞蹈很大的一个不同。
So then there's the risk of injuries.
就是受伤的风险， risk 就是风险。
And personally, I think that cheerleaders are much more prone to injuries than dancers. And also much more serious levels of injury.Yeah,
那这个啦啦队呢，可能真的他们的受伤的风险可能更高，而且他们受伤的严重程度可能也比舞蹈还要高很多。
Because just like all physical pursuits, both cheerleading and dancing carry risks of injuries. Anytime you're using the body to do high precision things, you're going to risk injury.
所以就好像所有的 physical 就是跟身体有关的 pursuits， 在这里 pursuit 可以翻译成活动，它是 an activity engaged in regularly， 你固定惯常会做的事情，例如说一个 hobby 或者一个 pastime， 那在这里当然不只是兴趣了，所以这个几乎跟所有跟身体有关的活动一样，这个 cheerleading 跟 dancing 都怎么样呢？都 carry risks of injuries。 那各位可以把这整个背起来， carry risks of injuries 就是带有， carry 就是带有， risks of injuries 就是受伤的风险。
In fact, every dancer or cheerleader will probably have minor injuries from time to time. When you're running around, moving yourself so much, of course you're going to get these small injuries.But serious injuries differ in nature between these two activities. So they're going to get the same kinds of minor injuries, but the major injuries they get are very different.
那事实上呢 every dancer or cheerleader 每一个舞蹈者或者是啦啦队员呢都会怎么样？可能都会有一些小伤 have minor injuries. From time to time 就是三不五时 occasionally, now and then, sometimes, once in a while 等等的，就是他们都三不五时都会受一点小伤 have minor injuries. 但是呢 serious injuries 但是一些严重的伤害受伤呢 differ in nature between these two activities. Differ in nature 就是他们受到严重伤害的这个本质会不一样。 Differ in nature 就是他们本质是不同的 between these two activities 这两个活动之间严重伤害的本质会不一样，就他们受到严重的伤害的那种本质会不一样。
Dancers tend to suffer from overstretched ligaments. So ligaments are the things that connect your bones and muscles. And so you can stretch them too much, and that's a problem because it's hard to get them back into shape. They also suffer sprains or even breaking their knees and ankles, which, ouch.
好，所以呢，这个舞蹈者呢 tend to 往往会 suffer from 他们会受到什么伤害呢 ？Overstretched ligaments. Ligaments 是韧带，那 overstretched 就是过度伸展的。因为 stretch 这个字就是 to lengthen 或者是 distend。D-I-S-T-E-N-D 就是 stretch overstretched 就是过度伸展的这个 ligament 我们刚刚讲是韧带还有 sprains 他们会有扭伤甚至会有怎么样 breaking knees and ankles breaking 在这里就让它骨折的意思啊就是伤到骨折这个膝盖啊还有脚踝啊等等的
Cheerleaders are more at risk of, and this is terrible, severe head and spinal cord injuries, which sort of thing leads you to, like losing your ability to speak or your ability to use most of your body, like very life-threatening or, after a head or spinal cord injury, you can't continue cheerleading. You can't continue most activities. And this is because of the stunts and the high-flying acrobatics they perform. When someone is being thrown into 20 feet off of the ground, if you land wrong, or if somebody lands on top of you, you can really mess your body up.
所以呢，这个啦啦队员呢，他们 are more at risk of， 他们比较容易有的风险是什么呢 ？are more at risk of， 他们比较有的风险是 severe 很严重的 head 头部，还有 spinal cord 也就是脊髓神经的这种伤害，那不得了，因为伤到脊髓神经，常常就会可能会半身不遂，或者丧失行动能力等等的，再不然就头摔破了等等的。那 due to 为什么会这样子呢？因为 the stunts 就他们要做一些特技，还有 high flying。这个 high flying acrobatics 就是杂技甚至于这种特技杂耍那种感觉 high flying 就是高飞各位看到现在有时候啦啦队他们那个比赛的时候那个人他们会在空中不只是飞而且是被抛出去的然后对方要接住要怎么样的然后这些都是怎么样 that they perform 他们会表演会执行这些特技 stunts 还有呢会执行这些这个高飞的这种杂耍特技所以这个是很危险的
So careers the
yeah.
jobs that you can have in these fields.
Yeah, 生涯.
So those interested in cheerleading generally start in high school or at a younger age because honestly, once past high school, there's not much room for professional development.
他说 those interested in cheerleading 对于那些有兴趣从事啦啦队活动的人呢 generally 通常他们怎么样 start 起步是 in high school 是高中的时候开始或者是 at a younger age 或者更年轻他们就开始了
Now, though classified as a sport, cheerleading has yet to be included in the greatest honor for athletes, the Olympics.
好，所以虽然呢 classified as 它被归类为一种运动虽然是这样但是 cheerleading 呢 has yet to be included 这还没有被包含进去包含在哪里呢包含在那个 the greatest honor for athletes 运动员的最高荣誉也就是奥运换句话说这个啦啦队运动呢还没有成为奥运的比赛项目
Now, it's also not easy for cheerleaders to extend their career when they are no longer students.
Yeah, 那 it's also not easy for somebody to do something 就要某人去做某事也不容易那在这个某人呢就是啦啦队员所以呢你要让啦啦队员要能够 extend their careers 要能够延展伸展他们的生涯When they are no longer students 他们不是学生的时候呢你要他继续他的生涯其实不容易就是这都是学生的活动嘛那你毕业了你已经不是学生了就不太容易继续你的这个从事啦啦队的活动
Now, given their background, a career in sports management or broadcasting can be viable because they're used to being on camera, they're used to leading people, they're also used to management. So, yeah, these things are things you can do afterwards.
好，那 given their background 你这个 given 就是条件是这样他们的条件或者你去看一看根据他们的这个背景来看呢 a career in 就在哪一方面的生涯在 sports management 在运动管理或者是 broadcasting 就运动的广播这方面的这个生涯就这一方面的工作呢 can be viable 有可能是 viable 就是可行的 practicable P-R-A-C-T-I-C-A-B-L-E 所以 viable 就是 capable of being done with means at hand， 你手上有什么样的这个资源你可以做得到的，那叫 viable。 或者是你要考虑你的 circumstances as they are， 你考虑你的环境，那这个是 capable of being done， 那就是 viable， 就是可行的意思。
Meanwhile, dancing offers a more long-lasting career path. Really? Okay. No, in a way, yes.
那 career path 就是职涯的道路，那它是 long-lasting， 就是 lasting for a long time， 就 not short-lived， 不是短期的。所以他说同时呢，舞蹈它可以提供一个时间比较长的职涯道路，就是你这条路可以走得比较久的意思。
Because depending on how well you've taken care of your body, a dancer can go into their late 30s, early 40s.
所以你如果好好照顾你的身体的话，你那个一个舞蹈者他可能30-40岁大概都还能够舞蹈，甚至于听过有些很厉害的舞蹈者，他们可能年纪更大了，50-60岁可能还可以舞蹈。
But after dancers retire, they have the opportunity to become teachers or judges in the field of dancing, or go into related fields such as costume design or stage management.
那在这舞蹈者退休之后呢，就他们不再是舞蹈者之后呢，他们 have the opportunity to， 就他们有机会可以干嘛？可以 become teachers or judges， 他们有机会可以成为老师或者是裁判，或者是呢 go into related fields， 他们可以进入相关的领域。例如什么相关领域呢？例如 costume design， 就是服装设计，或者是 stage management， 就是舞台管理。
So that's the end of our article, and we still have 4 questions for you. So number 1 is, why is Princeton University mentioned in the day 1 passage?
为什么第一天的文章会提到这个普林斯顿大学呢？
The answer is D. Chanting for sports teams was believed to have first occurred there.
所以据信首次为体育团队呼喊加油是发生在普林斯顿大学，所以答案选 D， 因为 D 就是告诉我们这件事情。
And number 2, why did cheerleading become a women-dominated sport?
好，为什么啦啦队会成为由女性主宰的运动呢？
The simple answer is C. Women were available during the war and men weren't.
答案是 C， 因为 C 告诉我们说女性在战争期间呢就是有空，其实不只是有空， available 就是你可以找到女性来做这件事情，找不到男性，因为男生都去打仗了。
Available is like one of those words you really cannot translate into Chinese. Available means it's not only that you have the time to do it, it's that you have the skills to do it and you're willing to do it. All these 3 things are available.
好，所以 available 这个字呢，中文不好翻译，因为它要表示怎么样？你第一个你要有这个时间去做，第二个是你要有这个能力去做，第三个是你要有这个意愿去做。所以 time, ability 跟 willingness 你要有同时3者兼具，这个叫做 available。I
think it's more about time and willingness. The ability is not so much, but yeah, time and willingness for sure.
那尤其是 time 跟 willingness 这个非常重要哈。你那个有没有这能力还不一定啦，但是最重要就是你要有这个时间，而且你愿意，这才叫 available.
So like I might have the time, but I might not be available to you.
我可能有时间，可是呢，如果是你找我的话 ，I'm not available. 因为我不想。
But number 3, what can we learn about cheerleading and dancing?
好，我们可以得知关于啦啦队和跳舞的什么事情呢？
The answer is C. The latter generally has a longer career than the former. And I'm also going to say the latter is less dangerous than the former.
那正确答案是 C， 因为 C 告诉我们说后者的职涯通常比前者长。那我们还可以这个另外加一个，就是呢，跳舞通常没有像跳啦啦队那么危险。
And number 4, which of the following teenagers might not be suited to be a cheerleader?
好，以下哪一位青少年可能不适合当啦啦队员？
And the answer is A, Abby, who is extremely afraid of heights. Yeah, you don't want to get thrown up in the air, that's for sure. Go be a dancer, go be a gymnast. Don't worry about like cheerleading.
所以可能是 A 超级怕高的艾比，那因为啦啦队员可能常常要被丢在天空啦，不过他倒是可以在底下当那个接人家那个很强壮的那个男生。
Oh yeah, I mean if Abby is a very strong, powerful 6-foot-tall woman, or maybe even like 5'10", you have to be strong and big and tall to do that job.
现在这个我会怎么讲男生？因为其实台湾有些啦啦队伍，你会看到里面有男生，通常在底下抛人接人那个通常都是一个很壮的男生。
Yeah. That's always the male job in cheerleading teams now. And with that, we end our article on cheerleading. There's going to be more Ivy English next month, and there's probably still more even this month for you to enjoy. So please come back and enjoy Ivy English. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.